Good morning, welcome, good day. Oh, what have I done? And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another Korean Starcraft League, another KSL broadcast, week number 18. I'm of course host Live VIP. This is not the first time we've gone live today. We were live earlier today with, well, it was supposed to be Tenacious Turtle Tussle, and that kind of threw me off a little bit, not gonna lie. Feels bad, man, feels bad. But we are here with your weekly dose of Korean Starcraft, one of your many doses of Korean Starcraft that we have for you every single week. And we have quite a PvP before us. This morning in the top left-hand corner of ReBellioN, we have the South Korean Protoss player representing Team Abydos and all the waifus out there. It is NightMare. This morning, in the bottom right hand corner of ReBellioN, we have his opponent. We have the other South Korean Protoss. We have the blue Protoss. It is ReBellioN. Let's go. Yeah, I started doing my stream intro. It's early in the morning. I didn't get to sleep too much. Woke up early to cast some Tenacious Turtle Tussle. Unfortunately, it did have to be rescheduled, as this morning we didn't have enough players to actually play out the tournament, which was a bit of a feels bad, man. Unfortunate when that does happen, and we may have to reevaluate some things, especially because Tenacious Turtle Tussle, it is our tournament that has been struggling the most. Not when it comes to viewership, but when it comes to participation, when it comes to the players that are interested in playing in it. So may have to reevaluate in the future. But something that we don't have to reevaluate is this tournament, because as always, the tournament is stacked right now with plenty of players. Unfortunately, not as many Korean Terrans. As I say that, I believe, okay, we have Gumiho, we have Cure. Yep, we have Cure as well. Byun and Maru are absent once again. We can make up for that with amazing players from all the other races here. We got Sola, we got Duck, we got Hero, we got NightMare. We have a Classic, we have all the players that you would expect to be seeing here. But first we have our PvP, and already we have quite a bit of delay. This is an old school delay here as we throw down the pylon. It finishes, we throw down a Cybercore as well. So NightMare is forced to throw down his tech. He's forced to go into his Stargate opener from here. So NightMare goes for the Stargate first. This is going to be spotted and confirmed by the probe of ReBellioN back at home. Likewise, he also set up a gate expand, but he's going for a faster Twilight Council and a faster second gateway here. So ReBellioN will have faster blink, he'll have a higher stalker count. His opponents will have access to oracles. Oh, never mind. Oh my god, NightMare being a little bit more aggressive. His own probe did die, so he was unable to scout what exactly his opponent was going for, and he's going for a Phoenix first. Now, with the arrival of this Phoenix, we can actually help support the ground army and focus down some of these Stalkers. Speaking of, the Phoenix is making his way across the map, and he's going to be looking to pick up that Stalker. Oh, and there it is. We have a recall to try and save it as best we can. Recall will come into play. Stalker does get saved. A nice save there by ReBellioN, but now he's on the back foot. We have a backup pylon on the way. No shield battery on the high ground. And NightMare, he's continuing to pump out even more of these Phoenixes. He wants to try to bust on in. He's going to be laying siege upon these pylons, and this is a really rough start for ReBellioN. Across the map, he's throwing out a proxy gateway. He's going for one base all-in, but he can't allow these gateways to be depowered. As even a third pylon is thrown down. ReBellioN fighting his heart out here, trying to hold on to his own production, but it looks like things are snowballing out of control. A couple more Stalkers are on the way. Pylon does go down. Depowers one of those gateways. We are going to be able to force this army back. Another pylon finishes. ReBellioN, he holds. He doesn't just hold. We throw down another Nexus. Meanwhile, the Phoenixes are going to be threatening the mineral line, but ReBellioN is not turning around. He's sending everything he has across the map. There is a Void Ray on the way to defend. We have a second shield battery as well. NightMare is getting ready to defend against the... It's almost all in from his opponent. I say almost all in. We do have a gateway across the map, so it's going to be 3 gates here for ReBellioN, but he has a Nexus behind this. He can transition. Jesus, as NightMare is working on everything. What I mean by that, obviously we have Blink for ReBellioN, and that's great and all, but NightMare, he's going to have both Void Rays and Immortals to defend. He has everything that's just anti-Stalker. Trying to break NightMare is going to be difficult. It's going to be ill-advised, I would almost say. even though ReBellioN has Blink, and even though the Stalker count's looking quite large, I don't know if it would be the wisest choice to dive up this ramp. He tries to focus down the Phoenixes. It takes too many volleys. No, the Phoenix doesn't even die. Oh, a rough trade for ReBellioN. He doesn't quite make it through. We have a couple of adepts on the way. They should be able to shade past this army. Slip into a mineral line back at home. ReBellion's just probing. I do think that ReBellioN should focus on just containing his opponent, at least with the Stalkers. Adepts, sure, set him in, get damage done. One-shot probes, go crazy. But yeah, ReBellioN, he is going to be looking to contain. Now, he's doing a great job at keeping NightMare on 2 bases. ReBellioN isn't going for a third behind this. The other scary thing is that NightMare's army is getting stronger and stronger. Looking at the units tab, we have 2 Immortals. We're about to have 3 Immortals. We have a Void Ray. We have 2 Phoenixes. We have a pretty hefty army. And sure, we don't have Blink, but mate, when you got 4 Immortals, you don't need Blink. And, well, you blink and you die. The Immortal count's just absolutely insane. We will commit to the shade. We're going to be trying to cripple the economy here of NightMare. Probes are falling. Again, NightMare's army is having a really hard time keeping up here with the Adept Harass. 5 probes go down. Can we get a 6? No. We get 5, though. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good amount of damage across the map. Phoenixes attempt to harass, but no, we defend. Forge is thrown down. We can work towards +1. Again, I do feel like ReBellioN should probably take a third base behind this, just because you just have some kind of lead here to facilitate for his mass gateway army. And the sooner he gets a third up and running, the sooner he gets shield batteries, the sooner he gets an overcharge as well, and he'll be able to defend against the 2-base all-in of his opponent. I mean, we don't have confirmation this is 2-base all-in, but regardless, like, this push that eventually is going to come is massive. There's those 4 Immortals. We have a Prism on the way as well. Oh boy. This is going to hurt when it does move out. ReBellioN, of course, can try to chip away at this army. He can try and pick apart, you know, the Void Rays, the Phoenixes, the Immortals. There's options here for ReBellioN, don't get me wrong. It's just going to be difficult here as he's looking for these opportunities. He dips on in, does trigger the shields on one of those Immortals. Is going to lose a Stalker for that. You see a third base on the way in. This is what I'm talking about. Even though NightMare was quote-unquote contained, even though ReBellioN had the map control, he has a later third. This third had to be thrown down earlier. It had to be thrown down sooner. We can see that he's going to try to make up for that by focusing down the Nexus, but alas, he just cannot really keep up with his army. He can't really overcome it. Oh, I love the Prism juggling as well. We basically have Blink. Able to preserve the army. Meanwhile, Void Ray is going to be rotating around, trying to find whatever damage you can get done. Maybe some scouting information as well. Just trying to be as annoying as possible as the Void Ray is dipping in towards that main. Meanwhile, the Stalkers, they also dive on forward as well. We're kicking off a couple of probes here and there. Not too bad. I mean, ReBellioN did have the economic advantage from earlier. But the Void Ray reveals itself. Oh, no shield battery in the main base. A bit of a delayed warp in as well. 2 probes do go down. 3 probes even. 3? Yeah, 3. ReBellioN dipping on forward here, getting whatever value he can. Now, the scary moment for ReBellioN is going to be soon. Once Blink kicks in. Once we have Blink, NightMare, he won't have any disadvantage, really. I mean, he's going to have an upgrade disadvantage. Sure, pretty big one, to be fair. But outside of that, he's going to make up for the biggest deficit that his army has compared to ReBellioN. Shields once again going to be triggered. ReBellioN going to be bypassing the army here. Going to be out positioning NightMare a little bit, but if he does head towards that base, but no, it does back off for the time being. Void Ray continuing to be big annoying. Just a thorn in ReBellion's side is able to at least saturate his third base, working towards Charge Archon. So Charge Archon, Blink Stalkers, Mass Gateway army here from ReBellioN. Can definitely work quite well. The problem is, of course, that NightMare has still, I would say, a better army like quality. Like the technicality here, the army of NightMare is just greater than his opponents, as he's also got his own Archons, about to have his own charge. The Immortals again pack a massive punch. Nope. It does feel like, for the most part, NightMare, his macro has been impeccable as well. His ability to take his gases, probe up, get further ahead in a way. ReBellioN has to hit here and now. +2 is done. +1. 10 seconds away for NightMare. Here we go. ReBellioN is pushing on forward. I was also supposed to get a glass of water. I'll get my water after this. It's all good. ReBellioN is going to be rotating around, looking for a way in. These Zealots, if they do connect with the Immortals, they can do very well for themselves, as long as they're able to avoid those Archons. Speaking of, we do have those Immortals just being pulled back to the back line, juggled back even. NightMare going to be testing the waters with that first Archon, and already we're going to be pushing forward. Great hot pick up there with said Archon as well. The armies will be dancing with each other. I feel like ReBellioN should get out of here. I mean, he's down in army supply, he's up in upgrades, but again, he just really hasn't found too much damage, not yet. He's trying to poke forward, but so far the whole position micro from his opponent has been too damn good. And yeah, he's playing with fire. He's getting a 4th base behind this, so it looks like he wants some macro out of this instead. He's now taking his gases that he did forego earlier. And now he's diving on forward. It looks like he has had enough. He does take down one Archon, but he's losing the majority of his Zealots. Oh. Like, there's no need to force the issue here. Like, we can just leave. We don't need to stick around. I appreciate this, though. He's going to be rotating over towards a 4th base location, trying to knight any kind of 4th base of his opponent. Zealot drop in towards the natural. Prism is soon to be hunted down. It will survive. You can see ReBellioN rotating behind the army as well, picking up a shield battery, getting a couple of units here and there. Oh. But it looks like he's poked the bear. It looks like he's poked the NightMare, and we're just going to be committing here. We're just going to be moving out across the map. NightMare maxed out at this point. He's up 50 supply compared to his opponent. How? Why? Well, the probes. NightMare, he was one to take his gases, to fully saturate his 3rd far faster, like a couple of minutes before ReBellioN even did. If you remember, he didn't take these gases until he took his 4th base, which was, you know, when he was pushing in or after he had been deflected. ReBellioN has just been out macroed. We are going for a bit of a DT run by, but before that can happen, NightMare is pushing himself up this ramp. The first Archon goes down. A good wave of Stalkers fall as well. We have the overcharge, but overcharge is not going to be enough. We just have so much firepower with the army of NightMare. He makes up for his upgrade deficit. +2 attack kicks in. And NightMare is going to be able to overcome the might that is ReBellioN. We do have a couple of DTs defending, and there is no detection. The DTs, the Invisible Man, do defend at the same time. We got DTs across the map as well. ReBellioN fighting back quite hard, actually. Do we have detection available? It looks like we do. The Observer is with the main army. There's an Observer back at home. We will be able to clean up these DTs. GG gets called, and NightMare will take game number 1. GG. But for a mere moment, did the Dark Templars actually, you know, support and pay off there for ReBellioN, who was able to survive a little bit longer, able to do some counter damage, but it wasn't enough to overcome. It wasn't enough to take the game. Ooh. NightMare, despite having a bit of a rougher start, NightMare, despite having a bit of a rougher start, he was able to overcome that. Again, have a really solid defensive army. Slowly took his 3rd base. I say slowly. He did say slowly take his 3rd, but again, ReBellioN, his own was at the same time, which was really weird, right? Like, it was very. It almost felt like ReBellioN was really afraid or really scared of being too greedy against NightMare. I think he was afraid of a 2-base all-in, and didn't realize that he was safe enough to expand a little bit faster instead. So ReBellioN wasn't able to fully capitalize on what he was able to accomplish in that game, and as a result, we're getting into game 2. Oh my, do I not have my... Oh, my mistake. Un momento. There we go. I'm just going to have to change my background as well. Wait, I had my camera on. I just didn't have it set up properly. But, oh, here we go. We're back. We're back. It's all good. Fix this as well. Bam. Beautiful. And spawning in the top right hand corner of Royal Blood, we have the South Korean Brodos player representing Team Arbidos. All the waifus out there. Uwu, Poppy, Uwu. We have NightMare. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner of Royal Blood, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Brodos representing himself as he's teamless. It is ReBellioN. ReBellioN has been around for a very, very long time, ever since, I want to say, the inception of Legacy of the Void. I don't remember if he was competing in Heart of the Swarm, but I do remember him being there in the early days of Legacy, in all of the Elite Leagues, of course. Back then, ReBellioN was known by a different ID. He was a Gyelzing, the Korean Protoss. So if you're an old school viewer, if you're an old school fan of StarCraft, you may recognize the ID Gyelzing. And yeah, he was a regular back in the day. He was he would occasionally have some deep runs in Elite League, you know, going for semifinals or maybe on a lucky day of finals. I want to say semifinals for the most part. He would maybe crack that, but again, Elite Leagues back in the day were very, very high profile, and it was very difficult to actually have these tremendous results. But regardless, you know, Gyelzing, eventually he went for a bit of a facelift. He went for a name change at around the start of 2020, and yeah, he's been having some mixed results here and there. If you remember, he used to be on Team Super as well, back in 2020, 2021. Was representing them quite well for quite some time with a lot of their Korean roster, with players like Lunacy, with Stephen Curry, 3 Points. I don't think 3 Point was on Team Super, but you know, like from those kind of players. But yeah, ReBellioN, even though he has been competing for many years, he has yet to break into the pro scene, yet to break into like the GSL caliber of players. Yeah, it is a bit of a shame, definitely, that he was never able to, or until now, he hasn't been able to really break out. He's always been a player full of potential, and I know that especially back in the day, he would invest quite a lot of time into the game. It just goes to show like how high and how high even the skill floor of GSL is, and as an up-and-coming player, it can be really difficult to break into that scene. We've seen that even more recently with players like Control, with players like Honmono, Quanta, Jinio, Percival, for example, and even players like Mondo as well. It can be difficult to break in, and yeah, it's cutthroat, but it's cutthroat. As we reminisce about times gone by, once again we have a pretty interesting opener. So NightMare goes for a 2-gate opener into a Nexus, so very economic. He's going for some sentries behind this, he's getting some scouting information, and this is going to be very important because Hallucination is zooming across the map. These Stalkers do miss the Haluk, and we see the Robo first. So this is a pretty safe way to open. It's one of two ways. It's either really safe because you can get into really early Immortal production, or it's hyper aggressive with a Prism, and there it is. We have a War Prism already on the way. Oh boy, ReBellioN, he wants to be in the face of his opponent. The Adepts do shade on in as well. Looks like it's not going to be enough to break the defenses here, his opponent. Meanwhile, this probe is scouting? Okay. Alright, NightMare, he feels like something is wrong. I was very confused as to where it was going. But yeah, NightMare just making sure that there's no, like, I don't know, hidden Twilight counts or anything like that. Meanwhile, there we go, Immortal production has commenced. And ReBellioN isn't all in, he is expanding behind this. And yeah, this is just a really safe way to open up. we saw the power of immortals in the last game. In the last game, you can be at a Stalker deficit, but if you have 2-3 immortals, like suddenly you will have a better army. You just knock everything in front of you to the ground. It's crazy. As before the shield battery finishes, NightMare is looking to snowball out of control. Stalker does go down. A shield battery is under threat. The immortal is stuck behind the army as well. Took a long time to really come into play, but finally NightMare is being forced back across the map. NightMare went for his own robo, for his own immortal. No, he cancels the immortal and he's going straight into blink. He recognizes that he is safe to do so. Again, immortal production is usually something that you do if you are like afraid and you want to be safer in general, and he's still going to be going for that. Meanwhile, the Prism is coming into play. With these adepts, ReBellioN wants to do some economic damage. Now, this is pretty committed, especially because like the reason why you don't see this too often is because you can do this without the Prism, right? Like if you're able to get your adepts across the map, you can get a lot of economic damage done. And hey, we get a couple of probes. 3 probes do go down. But is that really worth the Prism so far? Is it worth the fact that, you know, Blink is delayed, that the rest of our tech has been delayed as well? It feels like so far, not really. But at least ReBellioN does survive for the time being. He's setting up for a 3rd base. And things are going to be settling down a little bit for the time being. I do appreciate that ReBellioN is also taking this opportunity to go for a bit of a faster forge as well. With this faster forge, just like that previous game, he's going to have a stronger +1 timing and a stronger +2 timing, as long as he's, you know, able to stay on top of his upgrades. There we go. 3rd base is now on the way. And ReBellioN is essentially going to be taking the role of the defender. Oh my god, he is... going for a proxy auction. Did you see that? So he's met up here with this probe. He sieged up the Prism to provide like a warp gate, a warp-in field, and he warps in the DT without a pylon. Something you don't see too often. It doesn't need to be powered, by the way, to actually make DTs. Meanwhile, the army has arrived. 3rd base is going to be cancelled. Dark Shrine is still a ways off. We don't really have a way to deal with this army. ReBellioN is going to be forced back. I was about to say that ReBellioN, after taking this 3rd base, he's going to have to throw down shield batteries ASAP to try to hold on. But alas, he was unable to. The base is cancelled, but that's okay because we got a Dark Shrine. It's okay, man. It's okay. Until you have detection. The answer is yes. The answer is we have 1 observer here for NightMare out on the map. Going to have to be recalled once the DTs do reveal themselves. We can see ReBellioN pushing forward. Yo, big brain play. ReBellioN, if he catches the observer, he may come across it, but alas, it looks like he will not. But if he does snipe the observer, then DTs could do some game-ending damage. The depths do shade him, but they're going to be cleaned up. That observer is gonna remain hidden. ReBellioN just sharking around. Here we go. First 2 DTs are morphed in. ReBellioN is slipping into the main. Prism is going to be spotted. We should be reacting, and there we go. We do go for the recall. But we don't recall the observer. Prism is going to be going down, but these DTs are wreaking havoc in the main base. They're forcing a big reaction. There we go. Observer is going to be coming back. And this could have been a lot worse. 1 DT does fall. The second one is actually hiding here in the corner of the base. I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate it. The whole position is real. We want to wait for the opportune moment, then we can slip back in. Like so. Oh, this 1 DT already has 4 probe kills, about to get a 5th. Not too bad. And with this, ReBellioN is taking a pretty nice worker lead. He's getting his 5th base, sorry, he's getting his 3rd base up and running. That's 5 probe kills. if I had number 5 on the mind. He's working on charge, +2. He already had +1. He has a massive upgrade lead. And he's even taking a 4th. ReBellioN not looking too bad here, but can he hold on against the counterattack? That's the question. We have 3 Immortals here with the main army. Only 1 shield battery at the 3rd base. I don't think that's going to be enough. We'll see. Force fields are thrown down. The Immortal is exposed. The Prism is not here to save it. And that first Immortal is going to be going down. Meanwhile, NightMare has 4 Immortals in the back line. And with the power of 4 Immortals, we can break through this defense. As he blinks on forward once again, takes down the last remaining Immortal here of ReBellioN. A 3rd Immortal does rock up just in time for the fight. And I'll be honest, these Immortals of NightMare, they haven't been doing too much damage. For the most part, they've been a little bit distracted attacking the gas geyser, the probes, the base itself. They haven't really been contesting against the army. Again, it's just been a really awkward engage. But here we go, boys are being pulled. I mean, has to be careful. He doesn't have a Prism. He can't save his Immortals. Prism is behind this. And it looks like ReBellioN, he has a better concave. He loses another Immortal, and now the Immortals of NightMare are coming into play. Now they're just chunking through this army. Reinforcements are coming on in, and it looks like, do we have enough? Up. God, it looks like we barely do not. ReBellioN, he's holding. The concave was just too great. NightMare overextends, and ReBellioN gets away with a 4th. Gets away with the 4th base. So what was wild to me is that NightMare, I thought he was like backing off, and I thought he was taking the fight slow because he was unsieging his Prism, so the Prism could come in and help like micro and keep the Immortals alive. But no, the Prism, it stayed behind the army, it stayed siege, it wasn't able to support the Immortals at all. And with the 2-0 upgrade advantage, ReBellioN takes a damn good fight. Very efficient trade here. And now ReBellion's in a really good position. He's working on +3 as we speak. He's up a base. He's not quite ahead in economy yet, but he's getting there. Probe count is getting larger. Probe depth, or the probe disparity is getting larger, I should say. Now NightMare's in a really awkward position. His big advantage this game was his Immortals, was his Immortal count, and unfortunately he just wasn't able to fully make use of it. And now, what is the plan here? We can, especially with such an upgrade disadvantage, I feel like we should probably just go towards Disruptors at this point. I feel like NightMare, he should try to cut some corners, ignore charge, ignore Archons, and go into Disruptor production. But no, he's going to be going into DTs instead and charge. DTs can be a good way to come back in this game. It's a really risky maneuver though. It's high risk, high reward. We already have cannons here at the 3rd. We have cannons in the natural. We have nothing in the main. Main is a little bit more exposed. Oh, as the armies miss each other. Oh, we're going for base trade. Now we can always recall. Oh, I love this. He focuses down the cannon of all things, so DT is going to be that much more effective. At the same time, the main army of ReBellioN is also pushing into the natural base of NightMare. Both players will be losing their naturals. Nexus will be going down. I love it. We just dive into the main. We are depowering all of the production of ReBellioN. Likewise, ReBellioN is a little bit late to respond, but he's going for the same move. Should be going for the same move. As he's actually focusing down the tech instead. He gets the Cyber Core, he gets the Robo. Meanwhile, where are those DTs? Do we have any? We do not. We lose the Dark Shrine? I think we lost the Dark Shrine, so our last DTs will not be coming into play here for NightMare. He blinks on towards the 3rd base as well. It does feel like ReBellioN has taken a little bit longer to take control of the main base, but he takes control nonetheless. And I feel like NightMare has to turn back around. I feel like he has to try to protect his 3rd. There it is. We have a recall. He gets back just in time. Does he have enough or a large enough army to really fight against this though? Shield battery does go down. Ooh, an awkward blink. He does get the arc on. Here we go. Stalker Zealot versus Pure Stalker. NightMare, it looks like he was unable to finish charge. Zealots are busting on forward. They're doing a great job at tanking here for the Protoss army. NightMare closing the distance once again. He's taking a bit of a better fight, but he still has an upgrade disadvantage. He's fighting without the support of his shield batteries. But he has the concave. He has the numbers. NightMare, despite being down to upgrades, he takes a better fight somehow, some way. He cleans up the army of ReBellioN, and NightMare, it looks like he has done it. GG gets called. NightMare takes the series 2-0. Oh my god. GG, well played. Going for the base trade was the best option for NightMare. I think if the game had gone on any longer, he would have been left in the dust. But alas, he was able to overcome the might that is ReBellioN. He was able to overcome the upgrade disadvantage, the army disadvantage as well. Remember, didn't have charge, didn't have nothing. Yeah, GG. Congratulations to NightMare for advancing on through.